I wanted to discuss figurative language with you to help you review for our upcoming FSA exam. Figurative language is a type of writing or speech. You cannot take its meaning literally, but it does give special effect or special meaning to your words. It also makes your words more interesting. Figurative language uses figures of speech. First, let's discuss a simile. Simile is a comparison of two things that are really quite different. But whenever you compare these two things, you use the word either like or as. An example of a simile is made a meme about similes like a boss. Like a boss is a simile that I hear in my classroom quite a bit. Miss Baker, I finished my test like a boss. Some of you may not know it, but you actually do use simile in your day-to-day speech. A metaphor is another way to compare two things that are not alike. In a metaphor, you will use the be verb. The be verbs would be am, is, are, was, or were. You do not use the words like or as whenever you compare two things using a metaphor. An example of a metaphor is Baby You're a Firework by Katy Perry. She's comparing you to a firework using the be verb are. Personification. Personification gives human qualities to inanimate objects, objects that are not human. An example of this would be the movie Cars. These cars can talk, and they can blink, and they have many other characteristics that a human would have. Oxymoron. This is when you put two contradictory words together. An example of an oxymoron would be a jumbo shrimp. Jumbo is large and shrimp is actually quite small, so when you put them together, the words are contradictory. Onomatopoeia. This is a sound word. This sounds like the noise that it actually is making. For example, an author might use the word splat whenever a character in the novel drops some water or spills some milk. Next is alliteration. This is the repetition of initial sounds or the beginning sounds. These are neighboring words, and there are usually more than two words. An example of alliteration is she sells seashells by the seashore, and you can see that the lady is tongue twisted. A lot of times alliteration is used for tongue twisters. A pun is a confusion of words that have similar sounds. An example of a pun would be assault with a deadly weapon. Hyperbole is an exaggeration used for effect. An example of a hyperbole is, my feet are killing me. Your feet are not actually killing you. Another hyperbole used in my classroom is, this backpack weighs a ton. It may be really heavy, but it doesn't actually weigh a ton. That is a hyperbole. An allusion. An allusion is a brief reference to a previous work. It can be a reference to a person or an event, a place, either real or fictitious, which means not real, a work of art, or even another piece of literature. Ellen Raskin uses allusion in the novel we just read, The Westing Game. She wants Mr. Who to change his restaurant name to Who's On First. This is an allusion to a famous comedy routine by Abbott and Costello. Another time, Grace Wexler does not want to go to Doug Who's track meet because she says that people will point to her and call her the mother of Cain and Abel. She's actually making an allusion to the Bible story, Cain and Abel, from Genesis. Now that we have reviewed figurative language, what I would like for you to do is get excited and start using some of this figurative language in your writing to make it more interesting.